Have you ever wondered who really controls your destiny? In Greek mythology, three mysterious sisters held the power of life and death in their hands. These enigmatic figures, known as the Fates or Moirai, wove the thread of every mortal's life, deciding their fortune and their doom. Welcome to the History Realm. The Fates, or Moirai as they were known in Greek, were three sisters who personified destiny in Greek mythology. Their names were Clotho, the spinner, Lachesis, the allottor, and Atropos, the inflexible. Together they controlled the metaphorical thread of life of every mortal from birth to death. Let's start with their origin. In Hesiod's Theogony, the Moirai were the daughters of Nyx, the primordial goddess of night. However, in later myths they were often described as the daughters of Zeus and Themis, the goddess of divine law and order. This shift in parentage reflects the evolving Greek understanding of fate, from an uncontrollable force of nature to a more orderly system under Zeus's domain. The Moirai were typically depicted as elderly women, stern and unyielding in their duty. Clotho, the youngest, spun the thread of life on her spindle. Lachesis, the middle sister, measured the thread of life with her rod. And Atropos, the eldest, chose the manner of a person's death and cut their life thread with her shears. Now you might be wondering, were the Fates more powerful than the gods themselves? Well, that's a matter of debate even among ancient sources. In some myths, even Zeus was subject to the decrees of the Fates. In Homer's Iliad, Zeus considers saving his son Sarpedon from his fated death, but ultimately decides against it, saying, "Ah me, that it is destined that the dearest of men, Sarpedon, must go down under the hands of Menoetios' son Patroclus," depicted with a spindle or a book of fate. In some representations, she even appeared with a globe, symbolizing the universal nature of her influence. Clotho decided when a person would be born, thus in a sense creating life. Lachesis, whose name means allottor or drawer of lots, measured the thread of life with her rod. She was the apportioner, deciding how long one would live and what kind of life they would have. In some depictions, she's shown with a staff, pointing to a horoscope, suggesting her role in determining one's destiny. Atropos, whose name means inflexible or inevitable, was the oldest and most terrible of the sisters. She chose the manner of a person's death and cut their life thread with her abhorred shears. Her role made her a feared figure, often associated with the moment of death. Together, these three sisters decided the fate of every mortal, and some say, even the gods. But their power wasn't just about death. They influenced every aspect of life. In Plato's Republic, he describes a vision of the cosmos, where the Fates play a crucial role. The Fates, daughters of necessity, clothed in white robes with garlands on their heads, Lachesis, Clotho, and Atropos, sing in unison with the music of the sirens. Lachesis sings of the past, Clotho of the present, and Atropos of the future. This portrayal suggests that the Fates were not just executioners, but guardians of cosmic order, ensuring that everything happened in its proper time and place. The Fates played significant roles in many Greek myths. One of the most famous involves the hero Meleager. When Meleager was born, the Fates appeared to his mother and announced that the child would die when a log burning in the hearth was consumed. Meleager's mother quickly doused the flames and hid the log. Years later, in a moment of anger, she threw the log into a fire, unknowingly sealing her son's fate. This story illustrates a common theme in Greek mythology, the futility of trying to escape one's destiny. No matter how clever or powerful a person might be, the Fates' decree was inescapable. Another intriguing myth involves the god Apollo. Known for his skill in music, Apollo once challenged the Fates to a contest. If he could make them forget their duty through the beauty of his music, they would spare a friend of his who was fated to die. Apollo played so beautifully that the Fates were indeed enchanted, but only for a moment. In the end, they upheld their decree, teaching even the gods a lesson about the immutability of fate. The concept of the Fates had a profound impact on Greek society and philosophy. The idea that one's life was predetermined to some extent influenced how people viewed their choices and actions. However, it's important to note that the Greeks didn't see fate as completely eliminating free will. Rather, it was seen as a complex interplay between predetermined destiny and personal choice. This idea is reflected in the famous myth of error in Plato's Republic. In this story, souls about to be reborn choose their next life from a selection of possible destinies. Once chosen, the details of that life are woven by the fates. This suggests a belief that while the broad strokes of one's life might be fated, individual choices still mattered. The influence of the fates extended beyond mythology into daily life. Greeks would often make offerings to the Moirai, especially during significant life events like weddings. In Sparta, there was a sanctuary dedicated to the fates near the grave of Orestes. This shows that despite their fearsome reputation, the fates were also seen as goddesses who could potentially be appeased or honored. Interestingly, the concept of the three fates has had a lasting impact on literature and popular culture. From Shakespeare's Macbeth, where the three witches echo the roles of the fates, to modern fantasy novels and films, the idea of three women controlling destiny continues to captivate our imagination. But why three fates? The number 3 held special significance in Greek mythology, often associated with completeness and divine power. We see this in other triple goddesses like the Graces or the Furies. In the case of the fates, the number 3 might represent the 3 aspects of time, past, present, and future, or the 3 key moments of life, birth, life, and death. Now you might be wondering, if the fates controlled destiny, what was the point of worshiping the other gods? Well, the Greeks had a complex view of divine influence. While the fates might determine the broad strokes of one's life, the other gods could still influence day-to-day events. Moreover, living a virtuous life and honoring the gods was seen as a way to potentially gain their favor and improve one's lot within the bounds of fate. The concept of the fates also raises interesting philosophical questions about free will and determinism. If everything is predetermined, do our choices matter? The Greeks grappled with this question, and different schools of thought had different answers. The Stoics, for instance, advocated for acceptance of one's fate, while still emphasizing the importance of personal virtue. In art, the fates were often depicted as solemn, elderly women. However, some representations showed them as both old and young, perhaps symbolizing the timeless nature of fate. They were sometimes portrayed with attributes of royalty, like crowns, emphasizing their power over all beings. One particularly interesting depiction of the fates can be found on the east pediment of the Parthenon. Here, they're shown reclining at the birth of Athena, symbolizing their presence at every significant moment in both divine and mortal lives. The enduring fascination with the fates speaks to our human desire to understand the seemingly random nature of life and death. Why do some people live long, prosperous lives while others face tragedy? The concept of the fates provided a framework for understanding these inequities, even if it didn't necessarily make them easier to accept. If you've enjoyed this journey into the realm of Greek mythology, make sure to subscribe to the channel for future updates. Check out the video above for more fascinating stories from the ancient world. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us bring more of these mythological marvels to you. Until next time, on the History Realm.